being with us tonight. And he's with the State Bureau of Investigations, and he's going to be talking to us and training us about human trafficking in the state of Alabama, and some information that he has that we need. As you all know, we can tell at it as ministers and pastors, but as I told him just now, he can tell of it, because that is what he deals with. And just can't wait to hear the information he has provided with us. So I just pray for a few minutes. And as we said, we had the kids here for about the first 30 minutes or so. And after that, we had the kids to leave out. And then Detective Sanders will go further in detail with the information that he has for us tonight. And as you all know and read, that we put it on, we're going to call it live on Facebook, and then they're going to have it also on YouTube. And so please, then if you got any questions, anything, I'm sure you'll provide time for questions and answers. And so by all means, let's give my undivided attention. Let's pray. Father, we thank you, Lord, for your grace, your mercy, love, and kindness. And we thank you for this opportunity, Lamb of God, to learn about human trafficking from an expert that deals with this on a daily basis, Lord. And Father, we know, Lord, as you give us understanding with life and give us understanding with the truth, that we all need these spiritual and natural things to be complete. So we ask you, Lamb of God, as Detective Sanders is about to train us and explain to us and teach us, that you would lead him and guide us. And Lord, let your spirit remain with us. Your name we pray, Jesus. Every heart say amen.
Amen.
Good evening. I appreciate y'all coming in. I appreciate y'all inviting me here tonight. I'm not the greatest public speaker. I don't do a lot of this. A lot of my time spent behind a desk and type on a computer and chasing people across the internet. So y'all kind of have to bear with me a little bit, but I'm going to do the best I can. Pastor Leonard had the fortunate happenstance to meet me the other day. He was assigned to our grand jury in Henry County, and he had an opportunity to learn a little bit about what I do. One of the things that I do here in the state of Alabama is I work internet crimes against children. Basically, I spend 100% of my time with the state of Alabama chasing child predators, people in our community who are out to get our children. When I say out to get our children, I mean from the day they are born to the day they die. Okay. I mean, these people are out here. They're like wolves in the night. Anybody who thinks they're not are blinded. Okay, one of the things that I do as far as dealing with human trafficking or child exploitation is the human trafficking aspect of it. Human trafficking is the PR word for slavery here in the state of in the country.
Yes.
Everybody believes, oh, slavery was abolished years ago. No, slavery is real. Slavery is in our community. And I did some updating on my stats the other day, getting ready to talk to y'all. And as of 2017, we currently believe in the United States, we have 25 million human trafficking victims. That is more slaves than we ever had during slavery. Okay. Of those 25 million people, 4.1 million are 100% in the sex trade. That means they are being pimped out and used for sex trafficking. Of those 4.1 million, over 1 million are children under the age of 18. Now, one of the things that I have to express is, of those 4.1 million sex trafficking victims, most of them started in this as children. The average age that we see entering into the sex trade is 12 years old. These young women and men, we actually believe that there's a quarter of those million children are actually young boys. People don't realize it. Your sons are just as vulnerable as your daughters. Of course, women are always the target when it comes to the sex trade, but it is real. The men are just as vulnerable. When I was doing some research, I looked back in did a study in 1994 by interviewing 450 pedophiles, people who were known pedophiles, people who were convicted of this type of crime. During the interview, these men and women admitted to over 67,000 assaults on children. That's 107 victims apiece. All right, so this type of stuff is very prolific. So that's just to give you an idea of what we're dealing with here. I'm not going to sit here and bore y'all with a bunch of facts because we want to figure out how to stop this, how to prevent this, and that's what I'm here to talk about. Who here has a smartphone in their pocket? How many kids have a smartphone? How many has a tablet? Come on. All right. Who all believes that you have a right to privacy? Who believes they have a right to privacy? You have a right to privacy, do you? Every single one of you with that smartphone in your pocket, give away your privacy. You told Google, you told Apple,
All right.
you told Amazon, you told every one of those apps that you got downloaded on your phone, your TikTok app, Facebook, Instagram,
All right.
that you could take my life
Come on, brother.
and turn it into a statistic.
That's right.
So if you say that I got a right to privacy, if you have a right to privacy, you wouldn't have a cell phone. Because right now we're sitting in this room, there's about 30 or so of us.
Yes.
Every one of those phones is recording everything I'm saying, not just the two we have on stands. They're listening to every word you say in your home. How many people who have ever been sitting at a table talking to a friend about a new car they were looking at? Next thing you know, there's an ad on your phone about that very car. Okay. That right there tells you they're listening. Every single one of us, if you got Siri or you got any of those apps that kick on when you say a magic word,
Yes, sir.
they're listening whether you're saying that magic word or not. So just keep that in mind. How many people monitor their kids' activity on these devices? Actually go through their kid's phone, dig through it, and know exactly what they're doing, who they're talking to. Believe it or not, far too few parents do. They basically give their children a license to go anywhere in the world and do anything they want.
All right.
Under the anonymous belief that they're safe because they're sitting in their living room or they're in their bedroom or in the bathroom. Anyway, we'll get to that later when the parents, it's just us parents.
Yes, sir.
The thing about it is when you're online, everything you do is documented, it's recorded, it's saved. So if you take a picture of yourself with no clothes on,
All right.
just because you don't take that picture and send it out to your friends, just take it on your phone. Google has it.
All right.
Facebook has it. Those new little pictures of you get spread all over the internet. There are people out there who can get these pictures. All right. And then pedophiles get these pictures and they sell these pictures. But what happens is they get these little pictures of our children. Next thing you know, they reach out to our child. They say, hey, I got this picture of you. And if you don't send me more, I'm going to put it on your school's Facebook page. And then they do. That's how our kids get roped into this stuff. Our kids are children. They make mistakes. They're supposed to make mistakes.
That's right.
That's what learning is and what growing up is. Our job as parents is to make sure they don't make a mistake they can't recover from. Because what happens is our children get wrapped into these situations that they think they can't get out of because they don't know how to get out of it. They're not comfortable talking to mom and dad about, oh, I sent a picture to my boyfriend and now he's trying to blackmail me. Okay? It happens every single day. I have a school system here in the Wiregrass. I'm not gonna give the name of the school because I might give people nightmares. I had over 400 nude images of those children in that school that were being traded
As one school?
in one school. I got off of one child's phone. They were collecting these pictures like baseball cards. In fact, the chats that they were having on Facebook were, hey, have you seen, I'm just gonna throw a name out there, have you seen Kimberly's new nude? No, here, take a look. And they were sending them out. This happens every day in every school in the Wiregrass, every school across the country. All right. The problem is we have people out there who aren't just kids. We have grown adults, men and women, who are sexually attracted to our children.
Yeah.
They look at these pictures like an adult would look at the centerfold of a Playboy magazine, or their wife in an intimate situation, or their husband in an intimate situation. That's what they see when they look at these. I see a lot of parents out there who take pictures of their children running around in their underwear. Parents taking pictures of their kids naked,
Yes.
posting it on social media. Problem is, these pedophiles collect these images and they sell them and trade them over the internet. So an image that you posted on Facebook that you think only your friends saw, I find every single day in pedophiles' collections. The innocent, innocuous images that we all think is cute. I'm sure every one of us adults in this room has seen that little naked baby picture
Yes, sir.
of our little naked butts bouncing on the floor. To a pedophile, that's like candy. They love that stuff. So when you're taking those pictures, go get a camera, a good old-fashioned camera. Keep your pictures where they belong. Because if you take them with that phone, anything you take with that phone, I promise you is getting put on the internet somewhere, some way. I can't tell you how many parents I've had come to me. What can I do? Nothing is out there. This afternoon, before I left my office, I monitor a lot of the, I'm sure some of y'all probably heard of the dark web. Well, I monitor the dark web as part of my job. I was in a chat room with 817 pedophiles just 15 minutes ago before I walked in y'all's door. That's 817 people who are interested in obtaining child pornography. I was in a bulletin board that had over 1 million users. Now this is worldwide. The only reason there was 1 million users is the site was recently taken down by another government and they're having to rebuild. So in 3 or 4 months, they've managed to reattain over 1 million users. The thing about the dark web is you can't just type in a search for child porn and all of a sudden this stuff pops up. You have to look for this stuff very hard. So to have 1 million users is like having 1 billion users on Facebook. These people actually have manuals and guides. There is a pedophile handbook on the internet that you can download. That handbook teaches these people who are interested in our children how to do it, how to manipulate the child's surroundings, manipulate families to get what they want out of a child. They talk about single moms and the men and how to get into that mom's life and make her fall in love, all with the intention of going after the child, not to scare any single parents. These people are out there.
Yes.
When you bring a person into your life and put them around your children, you know who that person is. And then when I talk about
Yes,
a person, you know where they're at here. All right.
Yes, sir.
If something don't feel right in your gut, there's a reason. Most every one of us have that sense. You don't know what it is, you don't know why it is,
That's right.
but you feel it. You know something just ain't right about this person. You better trust it. Because I know my gut's never let me wrong. My heart's never told me wrong.
Yes.
You know, like I said, we're going to get into the parental part, and, you know, as far as dealing with your kids' phones and stuff like that a little bit. one thing I would like to do is I want to make sure that you get the information you want tonight. So if you have a question, please throw your hand up. If you're a kid, a parent, I don't care. I'm here to answer your questions. I want y'all to have the information that you want, what you need. And it don't do any good if we just stand up here and run my mouth, because I don't know what all you're interested in. Yes, ma'am.
How can we stop this bullying?
How can we stop bullying? The only problem with bullying is we were bullied when we were in school. The difference is when we went home, the bullying stopped.
All right.
Approximately 12,064 days ago, that all changed. Does anybody know why it changed 12,064 days ago?
Because phones were invented.
No, phones were invented way farther than that. You're close.
Social media.
The internet, the World Wide Web as we know it, came online. Does anyone know what happened 3,470 days ago?
Phones were invented.
Facebook. I'm sorry, Google.
Well,
Google came online, our very first search engine. 5,442 days ago, the infamous Facebook.
yeah.
So 5,442 days ago, the drama that happened at school started coming home.
All right.
All right. Suddenly, our kids can't get away from it. You know why they can't get away from it? Because they can't take them little boxes out of their pocket and take their nose out of it for 5 minutes.
Yes.
All right. I can't tell you how many families I've seen sit at a restaurant like this.
That's
right.
For an hour. They're like this. I've actually seen them text back and forth at the same table.
Good job.
You know, if our families would put those boxes down in the evenings when they got home,
Yes.
life would be so much better.
Yes.
Amen.
But it ain't gonna happen. We all know it's not gonna happen. There's always something there. And that's the reason they're there. Because if they weren't entertaining, they weren't addicted, they're like a drug. They're no different than crack cocaine.
Come on, man.
Because as I've been sitting here, there's people checking phones, doing this.
Wow.
But it's because they've got to. They've got to know what's happening in their world, in their little social group,
Yes.
right now. Problem is, 15 minutes from now, nobody will care and there'll be something new going on.
That's true.
Yes.
That's right.
Isn't it funny? Since Russia invaded Ukraine, COVID went away.
It sure did. It sure did.
When was the last time you heard about COVID?
Sure, I did.
It's still there.
That's right.
But nobody cares anymore. We got something new to talk about.
That's right.
And the reason it's addictive is because these companies out there want it to be addictive.
Yes.
They want you on it. They want you putting your data in there. They want to know when your sister's birthday was. They want to know your favorite cat.
Yes. Sir.
They want to know the car you drove when you first got your driver's license. Because the more information they have on you, is it diamonds? Okay. All right. I'll try to talk a little about it until we get fixed up. But that's it. They want our information, and they don't care what happens to our society as a result of that.
No, sir.
Man, these phones are good. They're great. They can be great tools. And unfortunately, we have devils in our community,
That's right.
and the devil wants.
Yes, sir.
And I don't want to harp on cell phones and talk about how horrible they are, because they are good. They've brought our society to a whole new level. Back in Vietnam, if you wanted to talk to a family member, you had to send a letter.
Right.
Now you can FaceTime them while they're in the middle of a battle.
Yes, sir.
I've got a son that's in Naples, Italy right now. I can take my phone out of my pocket and I can see him.
Yes, sir.
I know where he's at. I can talk to him on the phone. I don't know what families did before we had this stuff. Like I said, there's a lot of good things involved in our social media and our cell phones and things like that. There's also a lot of bad. And we've got to know how to mitigate that stuff. And one thing we have to learn is we have to teach our children as they grow up with this. Because people my age, they know what a smartphone was when they grew up.
That's right.
We know what tell in the yard and stay there until the sun went down and the light come on.
Amen. Right.
We knew what that was.
That's right.
You know, we grew up in a community where if you did something wrong down the street at Meemaw's house,
That's right.
Meemaw was gonna get you.
That's
Daddy
right.
was gonna get you when you got home, and Mama was gonna get you when she got home.
That's right.
Actually, she was probably gonna get you before Daddy,
That's right.
but she was gonna get it nonetheless.
That's right.
But now we don't know what our communities are doing. I bet there's people in this room who don't even know their neighbor's middle name, their last name. I don't even know their neighbor.
Right.
You know, good, bad, and different. That's just the way it is in our society today. We're all in our little worlds, and it's all in that little black box in your pocket, or silver, or gold, or whatever color you happen to pick. But like I said, the things that we need to understand is we've got to learn how to handle these devices and make sure our children know how to handle their devices. And make sure that our children are using these devices appropriately. Because that TikTok video that they thought was cool with them twerking their little butts and
All right.
shaking,
Come on, talk about it.
Yes.
you know, they think it's all cute
Yes.
until they're 25 years old and they've got their own children, and the little child walks in and goes, "Mommy, is this you?"
That's right.
And you're trying to teach them better.
That's right.
It's there. It doesn't go away.
No.
I have kids every day that are just baffled when I walk in and sit down in their living room with their moms and dads and say, "Hey, is this your butt?" And they're mystified by why I have a picture or a video of them naked in their bathroom. It's because they took the picture. I assure you, there's no porn monster that comes out of the closet and takes pictures of them while they're in the shower.
That's right.
There's only one way that picture gets on there, and it's hitting that little round button that says take.
Yes.
So if your child gives you the idea that they don't know how that picture got there, they're lying to you.
Yes. Yes.
If you believe that your child, that's the only way they get there.
Right.
If you find pictures like that on your kid's phone, there's only one way they got there.
That's right.
People don't slip in the middle of the night and put porn and child porn on people's devices. They have to ask for it. They have to look for it. You know, we had a young man not too long ago. His mom was destroyed when I went and started going through his phone and started to show him all the depraved things that he was into. People don't realize just how bad, child porn is bad. Child pornography is horrible. It shows probably the worst moment in a child's life.
Yes.
But the problem is, it gets worse. I've seen pictures of infants. I have seen pictures of dead children being sexually assaulted.
Come on, man.
And there are people who are interested in this stuff out there.
Yes.
I have seen a video of a young boy, I'm not gonna get any worse than this, being burnt with a blowtorch on his genitals. Because somebody was interested in that.
Come on now.
That's the type of people we have in our world. When you think that you've seen it as evil as it can get, I promise you, there's 10 times worse.
Yes.
Even I get stunned sometimes at the things that I see that a human being is able to do to another human being. So just keep that in mind when you're sending stuff out on the internet and when your children are viewing the internet, because they can get roped into this stuff. They're impressionable.
Yes.
They're at a point in their lives where they're starting to develop mentally, psychologically,
Right.
socially, sexually. This is the point in our child's life. Like I said, our kids are entering the sex trade 12 and 14 years old. Most children are just entering puberty. Now, everybody swears up and down kids develop quicker these days, and to a degree they do. But it's a lot to do with what's on them phones in their pocket. Because they're getting exposed to stuff that we never got exposed to as children.
Yes.
Things that we got exposed to was in our neighborhoods. we had to experience firsthand,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But now they can pick up that phone and hit Google, find anything they want. So, yes, ma'am.
When a kid is taken, how likely would it be for you to get the kid back? Once, you know, a kid is taken.
That's one thing I wanted to, I was gonna kind of get into. Realistically, we don't always get them back. If we don't get them back in the first few days, chances are we won't. Because these children are taken, they're smuggled out of the country, they're smuggled into our country. You know, one of your children, and this happened here in the Wiregrass. We got a young lady fell in love on the internet. Next thing you know, she's gonna run away from home and be with her new boyfriend, who she's never met. Next thing you know, she's standing on the street corner. Car pulls up, two guys jump out, grab her, throw her in a car. A few hours later, she's in Texas. That happened recently, very recently. And it happened right here in the Wiregrass. I had an 8-year-old boy when I was with Henry County Sheriff's Office in Headland, Alabama, who was purchased for $35,000, put in a semi truck and driven around until he was 17 years old.
Oh my God.
And that's the only life he knew. So it's here, I promise you. We see it every single day. What's my time? Because I get a little long-winded.
You good? You got about, you could, if anybody has more questions for the kid,
Any kid? Yes, ma'am.
cause we're gonna separate them in a few minutes, but, yeah, but y'all, if y'all got questions for the kids, whatever right now, we got a few more minutes, and then we're gonna separate the kids, so it's up to you guys, this is your chance.
Yes, ma'am.
Question. What types of, like, other than dark web and stuff, like, what other, like, would Roblox be something that you think?
Yes.
Yes.
Roblox, Facebook, Instagram. Instagram is horrible, believe it
I
or
don't
not.
have social media on my phone. I'm
Yes.
talking about, like, the online.
Like,
Go ahead.
you may finish.
Yes.
Like Instagram, Facebook, or Snapchat, something like that. Like Snapchat, like you gotta be careful what you get on and stuff.
Yes, sir. The thing about
Or YouTube, you gotta be careful with that too now.
yes, sir. The thing about Snapchat, a lot of kids like to use Snapchat because they think as soon as their friends see the picture, it's gone. It's not gone. I promise you it's not gone. I see them every day. So when you send that dirty little picture to your friend thinking you're being cute, or you take that video of that fight at school in the bathroom that nobody knew about, it's all there. Because just because you deleted it,
That's
the
right.
15 other people you sent it to didn't. And as long as one person hasn't viewed that video, it's there. Or that picture.
Or even on the private one.
Or in private mode. You know, if you think you're sending a private message to a friend, to a girlfriend,
Or boyfriend.
a boyfriend, whatever, it's not private. These companies thrive on our personal information. And they use the words privacy, security
Yeah.
as catchphrases. Yes.
As a kid, what's some of the signs or keywords to look for when you think you might be talking to somebody?
The thing is, these people are actually blend into our society. People don't understand that the pedophile and the child sexual exploitation, the person exploiting our children, look no different than anybody in this room. They could be anybody in this room. One thing you have to look at is somebody as a parent or as a kid, somebody who's paying just a little too much attention to somebody that's not of their age.
Yes.
I know it sounds weird. Oh, well, he just loves children. Yeah, he very well may. And there are some great people out here who love children. I love children. That's the reason I do what I do. But if you've got somebody who just pays just a little too much attention, might be a little too hands-on, maybe something subtle, small to back, you know, and it's just trust your instinct. Like I said when I first started, trust your instinct. Your instinct's gonna tell you something ain't right here. Yes, ma'am.
I've been on Facebook, they send links like your hat, and to be like, look at what I found, something like that. Is it possible through any of those links, if you were to like accidentally click it, is any of this a way for them to see your location if you were to press it?
Absolutely. Yes. There are ways there are hackers out there who thrive on information as well. But most of those hackers that are out there are out for one thing. It's the almighty dollar. They're looking for that money. Pedophiles are different. They're looking for your children.
So like I know a little bit ago they had this thing where people who were getting trafficked, there would be like they would find like scissors on their car, or they would find like if their car was dirty, they would find like 2F1B or something like that, or who was in the car, like signaling to other traffickers. Is that still something that y'all see?
The thing about what you see on the news and the type of stickers on the cars and the weird stuff and the door handles and all that stuff, I've been in this for 14 years. I have never heard of anyone being taken with that information. Most of the people who are taken are manipulated on that phone. It's very rare because it's too risky to grab somebody you don't know off the street in a public place and put them into human trafficking. Because part of what they're doing in the human trafficking world is they're building trust and they're building a bond with that person. All right. And they want that trust and that bond before they ever reach out and get them. A lot of this starts out as boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm your boyfriend. I'm going to take care of you. I love you. Your parents are horrible. They start manipulating you to believe that your parents and the people who love you, your pastors, your teachers, are horrible people. They put it in your mind that these people are horrible and that you can't trust them. You can't trust your mom. You can't trust your dad.
Yes.
Because that's what they're wanting to do. They're wanting to drive a wedge between you and your world as a child. That's one thing you can look forward to, or look for, is somebody trying to drag you away from your family. Yes.
Now, how can they get to you on Roblox?
Ma'am?
How can they get to you on Roblox? Because I know my grandson.
Through the chats.
The chats I know because he had this guy on there that was trying to talk to him and tell him how cool it was for guys to date guys. So they can, but wouldn't they have to have your address, and you would have to give them your address?
Most kids do. Most of the kids we deal with when we're doing our investigations, give the trafficker their address, give them their phone number. They usually set up a meeting, and that's how they get taken. They convince them to run away.
I just saw something on TikTok, and it was like people giving away free AirPods, but like kind of, I see it all the time. It's not nothing weird. They just do it, but you got some people who will do it, and they got trackers in it. Like people give you stuff for free and all of that type of stuff, but like just like don't take it. Or does everything have trackers in it? Like anything you buy from the store? The
thing about it is your cell phone is a tracking device.
That's right.
And I could send you a link right now. If you have your AirDrop on your iPhone, drop something to your phone, drop a picture to your phone, and every time you open that picture, it sends me your GPS location. That's what I'm saying. You don't ever know who you're dealing with. Yes.
What are some safety measures that we could tell, like, you could give the kids on what to say and what not to say, or what to do and what not to do on these apps, any type of social media and stuff like that?
It's very difficult not to talk to new people. I mean, that's part of the experience of getting online and playing online games and chatting, is meeting new people. Just be careful who you're meeting. If you're looking at somebody's profile and they've only been on that app for a couple of hours and suddenly they want to be your friend, that's something to look at. Why is this person just suddenly getting on Roblox and now suddenly they want to be my friend? They don't know me, I don't know them. Particularly here in the South, we're very trusting people. We've grown up to trust our neighbors and trust people. Unfortunately, when it comes to the online world, can't trust everybody. I'm a 14-year-old girl, I'm a 70-year-old man,
Right.
and I'm a 9-year-old boy on the internet.
Yes, sir.
That's three different identities I have online right now. Those identities are used for one purpose.
Yes.
That's to catch the people who are after our children. But believe it or not, I am friends with people in this room on one of my undercover profiles.
All right.
And they don't know that. You sure? There are, if you live in Henry County, Alabama, there's a chance I'm a friend with you on Facebook, and you don't know it. If I'm not friends with you, I'm friends with one of your cousins, aunt, uncle, somebody.
That's right.
I have about 9,000. I have almost a limit of friends on Facebook. In fact, I have been flagged by Facebook more than once for having too many friends. Man.
So the lady the 18-year-old that got taken, I think it was yesterday or either the day before from that Walmart, with validity, snatched in her car. Is this chance that she'll be found? They found her car, but not.
It just depends. A lot of your snatch and grab type abductions are usually domestic related, is what I find. Usually it's somebody in their past. Like I said, it doesn't always mean that. There are people out there who snatch children off, what we call stranger abductions, or just people who are out to get people. It happens. Will she be found? I'm not even sure which case you're talking about. Unfortunately, there's just so many in our community and statewide, nationwide, because I get Amber Alerts for every state around us. And my phone is constantly waking me up in the middle of the night with that piercing scream.
I want to say my son, Tyrone, when he was about maybe 14, he was on the internet talking to a girl that he thought was 16, and they talked for hours. And at the end, it was a 41-year-old man came on and was laughing at her, said, "You've been talking to me the whole time, you thinking that I'm a girl, but I'm actually a 41-year-old man." And I say that parents, I think it's that parents should be a little bit more cautious about their kids instead of taking the phone and using it as a babysitter for your kid and monitor your kid and check that cell phone. Like people saying, hey, my boys don't have no privacy. I'm paying the bills, I'm feeding you, I'm buying your clothes, you ain't got no privacy.
We gonna get in that just a minute. We finna fire it up. We finna get there. I ain't gonna tell all the kids the secrets. I gotta give them something to work about later on.
That's wisdom.
So like, I've seen where someone can send you a link or something.
Can't hear you. See?
I'm deaf in one ear, I don't wanna hear myself.
Okay, so the app, there's like these things that they send you and you click it and they have access to your camera and they can see you and you can't see them. Okay, so like for the viruses and stuff that they have like that you can pay for, are those really protecting you the way you think they are when you pay for them?
The thing about virus protection, they're only as good as you let them. You can get a virus protection program, and not use it right, and it's full of holes. All right, so
It's not 100%.
it's not 100%, and the people out there are always trying to come up with something new, something better, something more streamlined, or try to. The problem is with technology, when you plug one hole, it's like the old picture when they stick their finger in the dam, suddenly this one breaks out, they stick their finger in it, this one breaks out. Well, that's technology. Unfortunately, to let information flow freely back and forth between two devices, they have to allow that traffic to occur. And there are people out there who are far more smarter than I am, don't even sound right, who know how to manipulate our technology. And the thing about it is, most of the people who are doing this stuff, that type of stuff, have other intentions. The people who are out to take our children are going to use things like fear bonding, where they get images and pictures of the child, and the child gets scared, and that person's able to manipulate them into doing things they wouldn't normally do out of fear. Then you have your love bonding, where they believe that is the only person in this world who loves them. They have to be with that person, or else they'll just die.
Yes.
with the hands up and the eyes roll. I'm sure we've all seen that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, and that's the thing. That's what the predators are after our children. That's the type of stuff they use. Again, they're going to do what's safest for them, and they're going to go after a person in a certain way that minimizes their exposure.
So we have 1, 2, and 3. We hand over to Trina, then we get the kids out. Go ahead, John.
Go ahead.
Oh, you have one back here?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Hold on, let me get the number right then. Let me see your hands again. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we get the kids out. That'll work?
That'll work. Like I said, this is one of them topics that we can talk about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, go ahead.
Okay, like if let's say if someone like if you want to buy stuff online, you got to be careful who you buying. Like, let's say you buy like a friend, right? Like if you buy something like a game, you got to be careful who you buying. You got to be careful who you buying stuff. Like if you put you have a credit card, or you have a credit card or something. You gotta be careful who you buying stuff from. Like you own some games. Like let's say like
I think I get the gist. You're talking about buying stuff on the internet.
Like buying stuff on the internet, like PlayStation 4, Xbox One.
Right.
Because on
Would you buy an iPhone from somebody out of the back of a van in an alley? Probably not. It's the same way on the internet. If they got a wonky looking website, you probably don't need to buy it from them.
Right, like that's why.
And don't trust the ads on Facebook and the other places because they're just as wonky as the rest. If it don't look right, trust you. Like I said, it's. I keep beating you, but trust you get. If it don't look right, run off.
That's why you got to be careful when you buy stuff online.
That's right.
Because if you order stuff on.
Hold on, sweetie.
If you order stuff online and stuff, you gotta be careful when you get stuff online from. Like if like a scam. You know how scams be calling?
Yep.
Like house phones, cell phones, and all that. You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful when you call them like scammers and stuff.
That's right. All right, go ahead.
Here's my question. I had someone on my Roblox one time, and we were friends. We were friends because I played a game with her, and we were playing a game, and she had brought one of her other friends in, and then we were all texting, we were all talking, and then they started asking questions like, then they started putting in their real name, so I put in my real name. And then they started putting in other things, and then I started getting uncomfortable. So I told my mom about it. She was like, "Kendall, I will ground you from Roblox. Don't ever do that again."
I agree.
And I was like,
I absolutely agree because you don't know that was their real name.
I didn't know.
You don't know if that was a boy or a girl.
That's right.
You don't know who that person was, and that's the thing. You have to be careful who you talk to.
I said, "Hey, Kendall." I was like, I thought I knew them.
They may have knew you from something else. You never know. You got to be careful. Who's next?
I was just gonna say, like the social media, so like Instagram and Facebook, just how the kids should be careful when you have these people wanting to follow you. If you checking who's following them or who they're following, you don't know anyone in that, be leery of that. And friends on Facebook, you got people befriending you and there's no mutual friends. That's something, that's a red flag for adults.
Yeah.
Amen.
And our children, unfortunately, don't understand that. They want to be friends with everybody.
Yeah.
Remember which way we went?
You go over here.
Probably got somebody back there.
Well, every hack that I've seen on Messenger is like from one of my cousins or one of my friends. So basically, our messages are still there, but now it's hacked and it's coming in. So that means somebody had to have got in their stuff. So what if I would have put like, "Hey girl, come to this address to my house." Could the hacker have saw that? So would you suggest anybody text, even if it's your grandma, cousin, anybody? Hey, can you send that card number again to anything like that? Would you suggest we just call and do that? Just in case somebody does hack and see the messages? Or
You want to know the most secure way to send a text message?
A text message. A good old fashioned text message. Don't use no app, don't use no nothing like that. Send a text message. Whatever your carrier service is, send a text message. Because your carrier will transmit that message, and in 72 hours it's gone. And, I mean, it's erased from the internet. They get rid of it because they can't keep it. So just send a regular text message or call and talk to them. Or here's crazy, walk next door and say, hey. Socialize. I can't beat that hard enough. Socialize. Actually know who you're talking to.
Yes, sir.
Who's next? Yeah, one more.
And then it's like so on Snapchat they have it where your location is automatically on when you make a Snapchat, and you can see everybody's stuff down to the street, down to what the building's shaped like, down to the cars in the parking lot, like the GPS, like if you went on Google Maps and just seen it. My first question is, when it happens, can people still access that even when you turn it off in the app? And then my second thing is, you said there's a lot of, you see women in the sex trafficking industry. How often do you see that? And what tactics do they use?
The women who are actually sex traffickers, a lot of your women sex traffickers are actually after other women. They befriend you. They'll have a completely innocuous relationship with you. They'll build friendships. They'll build trust. They'll start out sharing recipes or whatever it is you're interested in. If you're interested in making flower arrangements, whatever it happens to be, they'll feed off that. They'll build your trust. And it's like, girl, you want to come out to Texas and see the stuff that I do. And next thing you know, you're on a bus to Texas and you're gone.
That's right.
You know. So, you know, there are people in the sex trafficking world, they call them bottom girls. And that's their job, is to control the women in the group. But they have been manipulated since they were 12, 13, 14 years old. And that's all they know, you know. So.
All right, that's it. All right, let's get the kids out. All kids, please get up. Yes, ma'am. All right. Let's see, I know they got a couple more coming back. Let me get them right quick.
All right. Does anybody have any parents have any more blunt questions now that the kids are out? I'm sure you already.
You said the little boy that was 8 and he was taken until 17. So that was all you knew. So when he was found, was he like willing to be found or? Okay.
Believe it or not, he wanted out.
Okay.
He was taken by a male homosexual, and he was basically sexually assaulted. When I talked to him, he said he was sexually assaulted in every state except for Alaska. Hawaii. He said he'd never been to Hawaii and he'd never been to Alaska. So there's only 2 states that he had never been sexually assaulted in. He is now married with children. You know, believe it or not, they can, you know, I have to give the kid props, but, you know, he was able to recover. Unfortunately, a lot of these people don't recover. You know, it takes a strong will to recover from this type of manipulation that we're talking about. You know, people are, they get bound to these people in a way that's, people don't understand. They can't see it. They're like, well, why didn't she, you know, I hear it all the time, well, why didn't she just leave him? How many domestic violence victims do we know? Each and every one of us, we know one whose husband or wife beats the snot out of them on a regular basis, and they won't leave. It happens every single day. And it's no different in the sex trafficking world. They get so bonded with this person out of fear. They're like, oh, if I leave, he'll just chase me down and drag me back. Okay, maybe so. But if you try. Yes, ma'am.
I just have a comment like you were saying about the women, how women are becoming leaders and part of this group in the sexual trafficking world. Because I know just recently, I was just so stunned when I was watching the news that it was 2 women that were like head honchos, and they had, you know, right like you say, right around in the wiregrass area. Because one of them was in Enterprise, and I was like, oh my God, you know, that's just like right next door, and you know, it just kind of shock you because you think, you know, you wouldn't think a woman would stoop to that level, but they do.
Yeah, I was had a friend from here in Dothan. It was her and her daughter, no, her by herself, went to Walmart, and it was this lady just roaming around, always standing by a van, and she was just looking around to pick up somebody, and she was looking at her. She said she took off. We were staying in an apartment here in Dothan. Followed her. I don't know if she followed her, but she ended up all the way out to the apartment looking for somebody to pick up.
It happens. The thing is, you know, we have people in our society who have a very weak constitution. They're easily manipulated. You know these people, and they're super trusting. They might have a lot of friends, and somebody comes along and offers them something they've always wanted, well, they jump on it. And that's what these people are looking for. They're looking, you know, for that weak-minded individual. I don't know any way to put it. You know, we've all got people in our family who just are way too trusting. They're super depressed. They got anxiety issues. But these people give our children who have these conditions something that, for whatever reason, they can't find in the home. Whatever that situation may be, there's 1,000 situations out there that cause this. But they're able to walk into our children's lives and drag them away. And a lot of times we can't stop them. We get them wrapped up, and all we can do is drag them back, put them in jail, and hope that the justice system does justice. You know, sometimes it does, sometimes it don't. You know, it just happens. One of the things I wanted to tell the parents particularly, is your child has absolutely 100% their right to privacy. The law states until they turn 19 years old, you are civilly liable for your child's actions. Most people don't realize that. Here's the thing, if your child is out there on the internet and they're taking naked pictures of themselves and they're putting it out there for the world to see, and you know about it, and you continue to give them a cell phone to continue to do it, be held liable for it. So keep that in mind. You know, oh, she's just sending pictures of her butt and dancing. It's child pornography, and you know about it. There is an actual code in our state code that says that a parent can be held liable for that, because they're allowing it to occur. They may not be taking the picture themselves, but they know what that child is doing when they go in that bathroom with that cell phone in their hands. So that's something to kind of keep an eye on, thought on. You know, I have personally only done it once, but it was because the parent was taking the pictures. It happens, unfortunately. We have people who have children for the purposes of sexually molesting them. They'll get a woman pregnant just so they have what they're looking for. Or they get pregnant themselves. Because they want that sexual contact with a child. It happens every day. So as far as privacy is concerned, there are apps you can put on your child's phone. It doesn't even show up on your child's phone. When you get your child's phone and you set it up for the first time, set it up so that they can't reset it and put all new stuff on there. Set parental controls. I don't endorse any of these products, but these are just some products that I found online. There's a program called Bark. Life 360, a lot of people with iPhones use it. Norton's has a line of family plans, and there's a laundry list. All you gotta do is Google it, and Google Nation breaks loose with all the different plans that you can get. People talk about money. Most of them are $3, $4, $5 a month. But would you give your kids a key to a car without putting insurance on it? Unfortunately, no. Life costs money, and $4.95 a month or whatever it costs to make sure my child comes home that night is worth every penny to me. I had on my kids' phones when they were growing up. They didn't know it, but I knew where they were. I knew what they were doing. I knew who they were talking to, because that's my job. Used to growing up, when most of us were growing up, our parents knew who we were hanging out with because it was our cousins, aunts, uncles, nieces, people in the community, in the neighborhood. They knew that little Johnny was bad. And he didn't need to come over to my house no more. We all had that conversation. We all know.
Yes, sir.
But today's different.
Yes, sir.
They have 1,000 friends, and they may be from here, from sea to shining sea.
That's right.
So you have to get in your kid's life. Now, I'm not saying suppress your child. You gotta give your child the opportunity to make mistakes. Some of the best learning tools in the world is a good mistake, but make sure it's a mistake they can recover from.
That's right.
You know, sometimes they gotta learn a lesson the hard way. But watch them make the mistake and reel them in just before they step over the cliff. But if we're not looking for the cliff, sometimes it's too late. So, just like I said, keep that in mind. When you're dealing with your child's cell phone, is not the place to, oh, you know, they got their right, their privacy and they can do this, they can do that. No, absolutely not. Because if you're doing that, you're just giving them a tool to cause chaos. They may be that bully that y'all were talking about earlier, stopping bullying. They may be the bully.
That's right.
And you have the opportunity to step in and say, hey, this is inappropriate. You shouldn't treat this person this way because you wouldn't want to be treated this way. Teach them, hey, this is wrong. You know, one thing we're doing, and what I've seen is parents are getting younger and younger and younger and younger.
That's right.
And they want to be friends with their kids. They treat them like a friend, not as a child. They think, oh, I got to be my kid's friend. I got to teach my, you know, we got to wear the same clothes and go to the same place and do the same thing. You're the authoritative, you know, you're the one who has the authority in your household to determine your child's future. And it's not going to happen to some pedophiles out in Texas making them believe that you're the devil because they want to take your child away from you and turn them into a prostitute. And I've seen some very horrific things that happen to these children. You know, I've seen videos of 2 months old being penetrated by an adult male, a full-grown adult male. You know, and you wonder how it happens, and so did I. But it happens. You know, there are, like I said, the people in your kids' lives are no longer the kids in your community. The kids, we know their mamas and their daddies, and we know their grandmas, and if we have a problem, we go talk to mom and dad and say, hey, this is what's going on with our kids.
Come on, Dad.
They're not there anymore. We don't have another parent to talk to. We don't have grandma down the street that's seen them breaking windows with on a trailer, you know, like I'm sure all of us have been those kids. Or at least I did, I ain't gonna lie. You know, and I got caught, and I paid for it dearly. And I ain't broken no more windows.
That's right.
You know, I'll confess my sins just like everybody else. It happens. But
yes, sir.
in fact, there's the biggest troublemaker in the world right there. It's my brother. I used to sock him up all the time.
That's it.
But for real, I mean, our world has gotten so much larger
Come on, Doc.
than Girard, Rock Hill.
That's right.
You know, the neighborhoods that we grew up in. The reason I say that, I know I'm seeing faces from the neighborhoods. So, you know, it's not that anymore. It's not Abbeville, it's not Headland, it's not Dothan. I mean, even Dothan, by comparison to Atlanta and New York, are small places. We all still live in our communities. But it's not there anymore, it's on in boxes.
Right.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any of these, I say complaints dealing with special needs kids?
Absolutely. Every day. Special needs adults. That was something else I was gonna talk to you. Point on, because we all got aging parents. You know, the dad dies and mom's alone. Suddenly she's on the internet. Yes. She meets Mr. Jeff, who's a very famous love bonding gentleman on the internet. Jeff falls in love with your 70-something-year-old mother. Suddenly your mother's sending her money.
That's right.
She's mortgaging her house, selling her cars, all to send to some guy who's working in Paris.
Yes.
Who's going to pay her back when he gets home with his millions that he has. This happens every day. I have a friend of mine whose mother lost everything she had and then took her life when she realized it wasn't true.
My God.
Because she met some guy on the internet who promised her the world. And she was so lonely and so distraught because she'd been alone for so long.
Yes.
That she found somebody who she thought cared about her. Because these people don't care. They only want one thing, they want money. And they don't care what happens to that person as a result of their selfishness. So don't just look at your kids. If you got a mom or a dad who suddenly they've met this person on the internet. Our mom, I ain't gonna lie, our mom fell in love with this guy. And it took all I could do to convince her. I do this every day for a living. He snuck in underneath my door, right into my mom's living room.
Come on now.
So don't think it ain't gonna be me.
Send her a suitcase of gold, wanted to hold on.
Yeah. Suitcase of gold. And she believed this. I could not convince her otherwise.
My God.
Even when I sent her, when she told me his name, and I was able to send her pictures of the same pictures he was using in a case file that I had on my desk. So they used the same pictures. I said, this is the same guy, Mom. He's in a case file right here. No, that's not him. That's a different guy. I'm telling you, they're very, very good. And it's your love and your hatred is probably one of the two most powerful emotions that you have.
Yes, sir.
And they can make you do some very, very crazy things that you would normally do.
Yes, sir.
And that's as an adult.
Yes, sir.
Now you put this in the hands of a child who has absolutely no way to control this, doesn't understand how to control it. It's even worse. So just keep that in mind. See you later, bro. All right. I'm on my soapbox. So anybody got any good questions or stories or? Yes, ma'am.
I do have so the little text messages where they say that, hey, I am in not gang, but it's the other, but mafia.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, I know exactly where you live. I know if you take this to the cops, I'm watching your house right now. If you take this to the cops, then I'm gonna kill you and your family before you even get home. Mm-hmm. If you don't respond within the next 10 minutes, such. I got one too, but what's the best way to handle those? So I don't respond, but what is like the best way to handle that?
Not to respond.
Okay.
That's the best way. Don't engage these people. If somebody sends you a message and says that they're stranded on the side of the road, I've had this message, and this happens pretty regular. They talk about, hey, this is so-and-so, and it's your brother's name, your sister's name. I broke down on the side of the road and I need $250 for a tow truck. Well, most of us are gonna help our family out. Problem is, it ain't our family. If your friend or family member hits you up on Facebook and says, hey, I need $250 for a tow truck, call your friend or family member and say, hey, do you need $250 for a tow truck? Because they can get in there and they can send messages and they can make it look like it comes from them. And it actually doesn't.
I just finally want to read it.
Go ahead.
It says, listen carefully. I'm a member of a very dangerous cartel. Someone paid me to kill you. If you want me to forgive you, you have to pay $6,000. If you inform the police or anyone, you will die. If you go to the police with this information, they will do nothing but to send you to your house where I'll be waiting to kill you. I am monitoring you. If you refuse to pay, I'm going to destroy your family and then I'm coming for you. How do you want this to end? You want to end up paying me $6,000 or with death? If not, I receive an answer immediately. I'm going to start killing your family.
Mm-hmm.
This is September 26th of last year.
And if you probably look, it's probably not spelt right. And the language is horrible. A lot of grammatical errors. It sounds like they're trying to talk English in another language. It's even worse than Southern English. I don't know. We all know. But yeah, there's scams out there everywhere. Most of us have grown up and we're able to realize, hey, this is a scam. But your kid may see that message and go, oh crap. Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, you wake up and your watch is gone, the cash you had in the drawer is gone, and they're down there at the Dollar General getting iTunes cards and stuff and send that to them. So that's why I say monitor what your kids are doing. Watch their emails, because kids don't understand. They really don't. They think they do. I mean, we were all kids once. We all thought we were grown and knew what the world was about, but we didn't. And most of the time, mom and dad had to set us straight. Hopefully, or grandma or somebody, whoever was taking care of us.
My son, he was sitting back there. That happened to him on Instagram. Someone had hacked his account, and from his account began messaging him, and was telling him I'll give you access back to your account for $50. Mm. And so he came to me and he said, I need $50. And I'm like, for what? And so he let me start to read the messages. And so I responded back, let him know, hey, this is a scam. I know, you can just have your account. But at least with my son, and I can't say maybe he shows me everything, maybe he doesn't. But for the most part, if there's something weird going on, he'll show it to me. Or he may just randomly ask a question, which will then make me begin to question him more and get deeper into whatever it is that he's looking at, or whatever it is that's going on. So,
you know your kid better than I do.
Yeah.
I'll never know your child the way mom knows their kid. Even dad. Dad will never know their child the way mom knows that child. That's right. Mom knows that kid's lying. Watch him talk to somebody down the street. That's right. We know that. There has to be a level of trust. Okay. When I say monitor your kid's phone, monitor their activity, I don't mean stand over them with an iron fist. Okay. Understand that. That's not what I'm saying. You can't stand over your kids and beat it into their brain every single day. That's what I'm saying. You've got to give them an opportunity to learn from their mistakes. But don't let something build to the point that a mistake can't be recovered from. Okay. One thing you need to do is, if you don't have a reason to question what your kid's doing, still keep an eye out. But don't just constantly, hey, let me see your phone, let me see your phone, let me see your phone. One good thing about some of the apps I'm talking about is your kid doesn't even know what's going on. And you can play, all right, I'll see how far this is going to go. One thing it may do is keep you from being over to grandma.
Yes, sir. Yes.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Yes.
But I had a kid when I was 18 years old. A lot of us have kids when we were teenagers, it happens. But if our parents had an opportunity to stop it, I like to think they would. So we've actually got a tool that can work for our benefit much more than our parents did. Just got to use it that way. But at the same time, you gotta build that trust with your kid. If you got a good kid, praise the Lord.
That's right.
But
That's right.
some of us don't.
Come on.
Some of us got that hard-headed young, and you just couldn't beat with a mop and get through right. You know, so, but you know what level of trust you can give your kid. And if they break that trust, let them learn that trust is something they have to build and earn. They have to earn trust. Let them let you earn. Yes.
Do you know anything about, I don't know if it's a chip or app or something, but like you can kind of connect your phone to where anything they receive, your phone receives. Kind of like a mirror.
Mm-hmm. There's like I said, there are several apps out there. Let me pull my little handy dandy notebook bag up. Some of y'all may remember that song. That's TV show. There's a program called Bark. There's a Live 360. Norton's Security has a number of those apps, and there are a plethora of others that are out there. And you simply install it on your child's phone when they get it new, and they never even know the app's there.
They can't delete it.
Don't even know it's there. It's hidden. You know, and in my opinion, I set my kid's phone up and I dictate what that kid can do. They can't change their passwords without my approval, because, and it also instills a little bit of fear. They don't know what mom and dad, what I'm looking at, and what I want. 99% of the time, I don't look at what they're doing. I don't want to know. I'm just being honest. I mean, I don't want to listen to 4 hours of somebody fussing about their PlayStation character getting destroyed or something, you know. I don't want to read that. But if they're talking to some guy who's talking about him moving to California with him in 3 weeks, yeah, I might want to take a look, dig into that a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, those apps, there's plenty of apps out there that you can put on your child's phone. You can set up parental controls to where your child can only do certain things. They can't install apps. And let that build. As they get older, give them a little more responsibility with their devices. You know, by the time they're 16, 17 years old, they've learned to live with that device. But that's the problem. We give these devices to our kids when they're still in diapers.
Right.
I mean, how many iPads have we seen in a restaurant? Kids' eyes are about this big around, their bloodshot because they haven't blinked in 4 hours. Watching God knows what on YouTube. But teach them responsibility. Don't just give it to them and say, hey, figure it out.
That's right.
Yeah. Start them off. Hey, if you want this app, you got to come to me and I got to put it on your phone. All right. After a while, let them add a few apps. After a while, let them have a little privacy. And then by the time they're adults, they've learned to live with the device. Unfortunately, a lot of our kids are throwing these devices because a lot of us are just learning these devices ourselves. I mean, they're new to us.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, in 96, 97, some of us were just graduating high school. You know, we didn't even have smartphones, back then. I mean, heck, Facebook didn't come on until 2004. You know, I was out of high school. I've been almost 5 years out of school when Facebook come along. It's hard to believe that, but MySpace. Everybody knows about MySpace. And Yahoo Instant Messenger. So yeah, I mean, we grew up with it, but all this stuff is new and it changes every day. These devices, I do computer forensics as part of what I do. And I tell you, it changes every single week, something new. And I get paid to stay on top of it. And it's still a challenge.
So do you feel that when Facebook switches over to Meta, that pedophiles will use that, will try to use that? So
most everybody is switching to, Facebook is kind of falling off the hill.
TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok, they're finding new apps. There's apps. Parents come to me all the time. Hey, have you heard about this app? Have you heard about that app? That's what I'm saying. You have to stay on top of it. Because if your child comes to you with some weird new app, there's probably a reason they want it. It's because it usually hides something, or they think it's some kind of privacy, or I can hide this from my parents, or do something like that. Yes, sir.
Have you heard of this app called WhatsApp?
WhatsApp? Yep.
I heard that was, I seen like an ad that said that was better than just sending out regular text messages.
Yeah, the thing about WhatsApp is they say it's end-to-end encryption, so people in the middle can't see what you're talking about. Thing is, it's on both phones, and it's unencrypted on both phones. So from a forensic standpoint, WhatsApp don't mean anything to me because it's unencrypted on your phone. WhatsApp is very popular in European countries. Unlike here in America, we have unlimited text, phone calls, and data. Over there, they don't have unlimited calls and text. They may only get 300 or 400 texts a month. Could you imagine wanting to be able to text 300 times a month? That would be awesome. But so they use apps like WhatsApp. WhatsApp is a very, very popular app in European countries. When my son got to Italy, that was the first thing he did was call me, "Hey Dad, you got to download WhatsApp because that's the way you're going to be able to communicate with him." So, you know, every region, every country has a new app.
You have to be careful of scammers with WhatsApp. WhatsApp been around for a long time.
Yeah, my dad told me about it.
WhatsApp. There's scammers everywhere. WhatsApp. I get a text from somebody, "Hey, I'm lonely. Can you come visit me tonight?" I get one of those text messages about 3 times a day on WhatsApp. You know. So I'm sitting there, sitting there with my wife, and all of a sudden she sees this half-naked woman pop up on my WhatsApp, and I have to explain to her I don't know who this person is. You know, it happened. Yeah, that's how people. That's why we have protection plans on our phones.
That's right.
Because the wife done broke it up against the wall, up against our head. I can hear it now. Who is that? But it's there, I assure you. But yeah, I mean, there's apps and everything. You know, you got WhatsApp, you got Telegram is another big one. Discord is another big one. You know, Discord is actually probably one of the more dangerous apps. Kick is absolutely a no as far as I'm concerned. I would never let my child have Kick. Kick is full of child pornography and pedophiles. You know, and that's just my personal. That's one of the absolute hard no's in my household is Kick. The one thing about Kick is when they first started, they were overseas company. They were started in a company in this nation called Chad, and they don't have the same laws that we have. They don't see child abuse and child sexual exploitation in the same light we do. So they don't cooperate when when your child goes missing and they were lured away on Kick, they go tough luck. You know, one thing you have to look at when you're choosing what apps your family can use, I hate to say it, use the ones that are police friendly because we're the ones going to look for them. You know, another good thing about these family apps I've mentioned is they allow you to dictate what your child can do. It also allows you to turn the internet off. You want to upset a child faster than taking that phone away? Is making it where they can't do something on it. Turn text messages off. Turn the internet off. Keep it where they can't even can't even hook to the Wi-Fi. All they can do is make a phone call.
That's right.
That's my daughter right there. She's so bad.
The phone shuts off and you're like,
no. So bad. Well, and you were saying that apps with a lot of your carriers, because we were with Verizon at the time, and so and within my carrier, I was able to stop all of that at a certain time. She could only receive or make calls to who I had in that list. But I started my children, they had phones kind of at a younger age, but I started them in that manner.
That's right.
You can have the phone, but
Mama gonna know.
Some restrictions.
Right. But the problem is I've got so many parents that just go,
yeah,
here you go. Our grandparents who were forced to raise our children because of certain such situations, and they have absolutely no clue. They don't even know how to turn it on. They don't even know what face clock is, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, and that's what I deal with on a regular basis is people who don't understand, they don't know. And they don't realize handing that phone over to the kid and just go and have fun, set it up, you know all about that Google email and all that stuff,
me, I'm one of them person that you talking about, like the grandma Paul that don't know. I have to ask my son, and he shows me and tells me, but all the same time, I be trying to check his phone out, and he has a password on there, and I can't get in, and I have to ask him what it is, and he be like, Mom, what you want my phone for? What you want my phone? And I know he be guilty then.
And this is kind of a messed up story, but it's funny. It's kind of funny now that I listen, going back. But I had a dad who had the same situation. He knew his daughter was doing something she wasn't doing. All of a sudden, she's an AV student. Suddenly she started getting bad grades. She started becoming very disrespectful. And these are things to look for. Your child changes. Hormones don't change your child that much.
That's right.
Your child suddenly becomes hateful, disrespectful, and they've been grown up to say yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir. And all of a sudden they're saying what and all the other superlatives that go with it.
Yeah.
That's something to look at. Why is my child suddenly doing this?
Yeah.
And that's what he noticed. He noticed his daughter was acting out. Well, he found out she had a phone that he didn't know about. And he asked for the password, she told him no. So he goes to his gun cabinet, gets his pistol, and walks outside and sticks his gun to her horse's head and says, "You got 3 seconds." The password come out. And he wasn't going to shoot the horse, but he got his pointer.
Yes, sir.
If you can't get your kid's password, a hammer will fix that problem.
That's right.
That's just it. I mean, when it comes to me in my house, I'm gonna know. The only person whose password I don't have is my wife's, because I don't want to take that fight.
That's right.
That's right, you don't need us.
No, I don't need to know, don't want to know, it ain't my business. She grown. And if I don't trust her, we don't need to be married.
That's right.
If you don't trust your spouse.
That's right, brother.
Yes,
right.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, we was at Verizon one day, Spectrum, one out the two, and he wanted another phone, and the phone that I was gonna get him is like $5 a month. He was like, Mama, what I'm gonna do with that? and see, I don't know. I'm being real. I do not know. And he was like, I can't do nothing with that phone, so I end up getting an iPhone. I don't even know how to work the iPhone. And I really don't know how to get in there to check anything. I have to call thank you. I'm gonna have to call somebody to help me out.
That's absolutely right. If you don't know, call somebody. Or Google it.
Because he had got to the point, I told him, okay, you getting out of my house and you get out today. Oh, Mama, I'm not going nowhere. Oh, yes, you are. So that's how I have to do sometimes.
I mean, I know we joke around and we do it, but if you don't know, ask somebody.
That's right.
Get back to where we socialize. Like I said, a lot of us don't even know who our neighbors are. I'm guilty of it. I know my immediate neighbor because I've lived next to him for 15 years. After 15 years, you at least got to say, hey.
Yes.
But a lot of us don't. We don't know our neighbors anymore.
I was gonna say, now the thing with these newer phones, you're either gonna have to do a Face ID or a passcode. Like they just come in that way where it's that security measure, especially with an iPhone. An iPhone is, other than what used to be I can't remember that phone. It's supposed to be one of your more secure phones. What is that other one that everybody used to use? I can't think of it.
Android?
It was that Palm, the BlackBerry.
Oh, BlackBerry.
Yeah, they're supposed to be your more secure phone. It's still an iPhone. You either gonna have to do a face code, a fingerprint, it depends on how old it is, or a PIN. Even the Androids are like that now, and so it can be pulling teeth to get these codes out these kids now.
But you know what?
I can hack and get that code for you, that number code, but now I can't get that Apple Pass. There's ways.
You can while they're asleep.
And that
Yeah. He gave me the password, which was in the 4 numbers, and so. And then soon he give it to me, he go back in there and change it. So it's just like I know just for that few minutes. And then one day what happened was that his phone needed some work on it. And I'm like, I'm calling these people, talking to them, and they was like, he got a password on it. He in school. I'm like, how I'm gonna get into this? And he got this password on here, and then when he get home from school, in order for him to tell me, I got to get the phone fixed, and then he tell me the password. Then after I get the phone fixed and the password, then he done changed it again. He tell me an Android don't do him no good. He have to have an iPhone.
You know, another thing that our phones are now doing is allowing for multiple accounts.
That's right.
They allow for multiple accounts. So you can set up your account on that device, and then you can set up their account on that device. And they can change that password all they want, because you go to your account and change it.
That's right.
That's good.
Okay, well, I'm gonna call both of y'all.
Lee was trying to.
I'm sorry.
I don't even remember.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
We didn't got to talk about Googly and Facebook.
See, what got me, he's autistic. He'll be turning 21. But he tried to play me. He tried to play me. I'm telling you, he tried to play me, but I have to put my rule down to the point that, boy, I put Stump Johnson on you. I'm telling you, I said, you want me to call the cop? One day I had to call the cop to come out. They talked to him, because me personally, I don't want a record.
What did it mean?
No, it wasn't you. It was Cochran. I had to call Cochran now. And now when I tried to call him now, they said that he's now left and he's a private investigator now. So he did talk with him. He did talk with him.
Like I said, it's out there. Yeah. I could go on all night, but I know y'all got things y'all want to do too. Because this is one of them topics that's got so many different caveats.
Yes,
That's right.
We could weave through it all night long. Anybody got any other questions or concerns or want to educate me on anything? I'm an open book. I give you my opinion, man. I like it, but I give it to you.
I have a question. Is it the same with the smart TVs?
They don't have as many features. Now there are some smart TVs that allow you to access the internet. So good thing about a smart TV is it's not this big. It's hard to hide.
That's right.
Check the browser history. See what they're. Make sure they ain't going to no websites they shouldn't be going to.
Hello.
You know. Kids are curious. They're gonna go to the websites that they ain't supposed to go to. Yes.
Is it? Oh,
Shoot, you ladies first.
So apps like YouTube Kids, and stuff like that, because my baby's 5, but she can't type and she can't text, but it got that speech to text where she just says Minnie Mouse or something like that, and it'll pull it up for her. Do we have to watch out for those apps too?
You should watch out for every app. That's gonna be my answer. Kids programs, especially on your mainstream media sources, are generally safe. Just make sure they're watching the material that you feel is appropriate for your family. You know, there's a lot of alternate lifestyles out there. I'll just leave it that way.
That's right.
That some families are not comfortable with. So make sure that when your kid's watching certain videos, that they're not something that doesn't fit your household.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever that may be. Because they'll try to slip it in, you know. I don't dance on what I mean, but I mean, you understand what I mean.
I know.
You know,
anti-God, anti-family, anti-home, anti-school, anti-whatever. You know, they'll slide them into kids' programming, and they're considered kid-friendly, so they're able to get in there. So just kind of keep an eye on that, because there are some kid-friendly sources out there that may not send the message that you want in your home. Yes. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't really know how I'm gonna word it. Is it as easy to get in the dark web as to just type it into Google?
No, you actually have to have a separate browser. Something to look at. If you see anything on your kid's phone that says onion, be concerned. If it says onion browser, or Tor, be concerned, because there's, I'm on there all the time. I ain't found nothing good yet. Okay, I mean, yes, you can get to Facebook through Tor, but there's no reason to get to Facebook through Tor. There's only one reason to get on Tor, and that's to look for stuff that ain't right. You're either looking for a hitman, porn, child pornography, illegal weapons, and drugs. You can order an 8 ball of cocaine off the dark web right now. I don't recommend it, because the police will probably show up. But it's out there. I mean, that's really the only reason people get on the dark web. I mean, like I said, there are a lot of your media people, but there's nothing I can think of that I would want my kid on the dark web for. Because that's where a lot of your fringe media, a lot of this stuff centers around. All right, go ahead.
Is that same dark web what the scammers use to get other people's information and like sell it? Like, I've had people message me trying to use my account like scamming wise, and they always say they get their information from the dark web. Because I'm like, how do you have this person's bank information to want to wire their money to me?
What typically happens is, like I said, we give all of our personal information to Facebook, Google, Instagram, Snapchat, eBay,
Or
Amazon, you know, you name it. You may buy a dress off the internet on some website that you used 2 years ago. You put your credit card information. Next thing you know, this site gets hacked. It happens every day. It happens to multi-million-dollar companies. It happens to Facebook. It happens to Google. They get online, the hackers get in there and they get a hold of our private data. And they do with it as they will. Most of them will sell it on the dark web. They will sell your information. And I mean, last time I checked, an identity for an immigrant coming across the border right now is very expensive. So they get online, next thing you know, there's 2 of you running around. Only problem is that person cares less about what your credit score is. So you go to buy a house or a car and they go, you got a 230 credit score. And I didn't even know it could get that low. And you've been working hard paying all your bills and you can't figure out what's going on. You know, that's a story for a whole nother night. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, it's like, it happened to me one time where some guys, well, I didn't know it was at first, but on Messenger, they hacked somebody's account and messaged me about some kind of little program. And so they're like, call me. Well, they started messaging me, okay, have you heard about this account? Have you heard about this? If you send this and that, we'll send you this and that. I said, I'll tell you what, FaceTime me. Call me on Messenger. Let me see your face. They sent me some photos of a video, sent me a video of somebody else. But when I had called the number, they accidentally answered the phone and tried to speak in English, but it was broken English. And in the background, I could hear the Mexicans talking in Spanish. I was like, oh, I'm calling the cyber police on you guys. And then I learned that I got an online Bluebird card. You can check with your card. You got a freeze button that if you can get them kind of cards, can't nobody steal them off your card. On my card, as soon as I purchase something, freeze.
Yeah. It's like all my credit cards. Every time I get a purchase, I get a text notice. Every time I get a purchase. So a few months ago, I went to a gas station, bought gas, got about 5 miles out the road. Boing!
I just spent $28 in Orlando, Florida, and I'm in Birmingham. All shut it off. Credit card companies are very grateful about it. They ain't gonna charge you for it, but you get $3,000 or $4,000 in the hole, and you ain't call them, they get a little more squirrely with it. So if you call them immediately, they're happy about it. Yes, ma'am.
So with the whole trafficking thing, I try to, with my kids, try to send them all out, like, all in 3. I got 3, so I try to send them, or at least 2. I'm assuming that's the safest way to be, at least more than just yourself out. In the event something like that is trying to,
It's always good to send your kids out in a group, but one thing you notice I haven't talked about tonight is kids get snatched from the mall. Yes, it happens every day. But your kids are 100 times more likely to get snatched off through that phone than they are at the mall hanging out with their friends. That's the way it used to happen. When we were growing up, the guy in the van giving out candy is the one you had to worry about.
Yes,
the
sir.
strange guy at the end of the road who lived in the RV was the one we had to worry about.
That's right.
Yeah, the weird guy that sat at the school bus stop every morning
Yes, sir.
in his raggedy old car. Those are the ones we had to worry about. We saw them. We could visually see them. So as adults who grew up in that world, that's what we think of as predators. Those are the people we think about. Oh, they're going to snatch us from the mall. They're going to snatch my kids while I'm in Walmart. Yeah, it may happen. But what's safer for your pedophile or your human trafficker? To walk into a Walmart that they've never been in, walk up to a child in the toy section, take him by the hand and walk out the front door of Walmart where there's 37 cameras, or to friend him on the internet, build his trust, and say, hey, I'll pick you up in the park at 11 o'clock at night. They pull up, they get in the car, and they're gone.
that's right.
And before you ever realize it, they're 5-6 states away. They pick your kid up at 11 o'clock at night, you've already gone to bed. You're not going to realize it until 5:30, 6 o'clock. You get up and get them to school, and they're gone. That's 6-8 hours later. So I mean, that's why I harp on what your kids are doing online, is because that's the way it's happening now. The stranger abductions, the kids get snatched off, out of their yards and stuff like that. It happens. It really does. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. But they're much more likely to get snatched to that cell phone than they are anything else.
Do they use the ring systems too?
What do you mean?
Like the ring, the camera.
People be hacking little ring cameras.
Oh yeah, they can hack them.
They can talk to you.
Yeah. Anything that's connected to the internet can be hacked. And anybody who says otherwise is a liar. The NSA gets hacked every day. I mean, an oil distribution center in Louisiana got hacked. They spend millions of dollars a year on their computer systems. They got hacked. I mean, if you got it, it can be hacked. Your phone can be hacked. Thing about it, people use the excuse when I bring them in for child pornography. Oh, my phone was hacked. Somebody put it on there. No, they didn't hack your phone. Fortunately, there's a trace, and there's things that we can see that mitigate that. IP addresses look weird. I've had cases where people have created fake Facebook accounts. I had one not too long ago that was extremely elaborate. I mean, had me and half the law enforcement in Wiregrass convinced that this was the person we were looking for. And it wasn't until we started looking into the records that we realized something wasn't right. So there's a trace. If you've been hacked, we'll know. We'll be able to find out. But yeah, I forgot where I was going with that. Any other questions?
Oh, I got one.
Uh-huh.
If someone in the car with you, like let's say you at Walmart or something, you got to be careful who you get in the car with. You got to be careful who you get in the car with, like gas stations and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get nobody. You cannot get in the car with somebody like you got one of them cameras. They watch you, and they got like gas station, Walmart, or wherever you go somewhere. Do not follow them, like hotels and stuff. You cannot go in there, go in their rooms and all that. You got you gotta be careful who you going out with and in the cars and stuff. You gotta be
That's
careful
right.
who you going out with.
Leave with who you came with.
Right.
Yeah, I wish you would tell me like that when you couldn't come down.
All right.
What is the best way to teach a child about strength, like not speaking
The stranger danger song.
Okay,
Yeah.
Stranger danger danger.
She's still for young.
Don't talk to strangers. Don't talk to you. That's for her age. Stranger danger. Yeah, it really like stranger
The
danger.
ones that run right up to somebody.
Play the song. It's a stranger danger song.
Kids are outgrowing. That's the reason people go after them, because they're easy.
Y'all ever have cases where if somebody did, like somebody just being curious, get into the dark web, and then people find them, come get them? I've been seeing like videos that happen, where people come and feed me. It might just be
I'm sure it can happen. I mean, anything's possible.
That's how people get abducted. That's what they say.
No, I mean, if that was the case, I'd have been at it a long time ago. Because I mean, part of my job, I stay on it. So, I mean, you just as likely run into somebody like that on Facebook. And you can't always believe what you see on your news feed.
All right. Okay. And we got about 2-3 more minutes. Any more questions before we wrap it up?
Bottom line is, as parents, we got to start doing a better job of monitoring these children. I tell people when I meet them on the side of the road, during my daily job, kids don't have a phone. If you paying the bill on that phone, you should be able to pick that phone up and go with that phone when you get ready to go in that phone. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's my phone. You don't have a phone. You ain't paying the bill. It ain't your phone. Give me the phone.
And it is borderline neglect
One of them old
if you don't.
type of parents.
At least keep an eye on what your kids are doing.
If I'm paying the bill, you ain't got no phone. That's the bottom line. Parents, it's got to stop being scared parents. That's what the problem is.
I mean, when you give that kid a phone and you're not keeping an eye on it, you might as well let the neighborhood pedophile babysit you, run the daycare. Because that's what's happening.
Outstanding. Anything else do you want to wrap up? In conclusion?
Unless y'all have any other questions, I'm good to go.
I want to add one more thing before we close out in prayer right quick. Like, when I was on the grand jury, which Steve was on, they had a situation where a ex-wife recorded a conversation with the ex-husband. And my question to the lady was, did you let the ex-husband know that you was recording him? The DA in Abbeville said, in the state of Alabama, as long as one person knows that they're being recorded, a person records you and you ain't got nothing you can do about it. Just be careful. Let us pray. Father, we thank you for Steve coming out, Lord, the detective, Lamb of God, and giving us some much needed information. Father, help us, Lamb of God, to apply the stuff that we've heard today. And Lord, help us to be better guardians of our children. And help us to be better parents to our children. We ask you, Lamb of God, let us not go in one ear and out the other. And also, Lord, give the kids something to think about and let them be mindful of what they're doing at every time. In your name we pray, Jesus. Amen. Amen.